Once again, it's your host, Arachnid Soul, here to give you my first impressions, my overall thoughts on the Xbox press conference that just concluded at E3 2014. First of all, let's talk about Happy Wars. Happy Wars is an awesome game. It's extremely popular on the PC. I love that game. That game is coming to the Xbox, and it is going to be awesome. And another thing they talked about is that you'll actually be able to go into Snap and you'll actually be able to get kind of achievement support, which is another thing that's coming over from the PC. I mean, Steam client, there's a lot of ways you can already do that in the community section and also on other PC clients, but we're just going to kind of speed through things. Next, we move on to Call of Duty Shadowfall. I'm sorry, I mean Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan in the world. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty player in the world. In fact, come here, boys and girls, I've never played a Call of Duty game. I've played every other kind of first-person shooter you can imagine. I've never played Call of Duty. I have friends that tell me that, Modern Warfare 2 was brilliant and Call of Duty Ghosts wasn't. I have no idea. I really have no opinion. The gameplay looked awesome. I have played a lot of Killzone, and we're going to bring up Killzone a little bit later on. It looked pretty good. I don't know, if I'm a Call of Duty fan, I would run out and get that. You've got the boy Kevin Spacey in there. It looked like there was a lot of cool weapons. They showed a lot of CG footage from kind of cutscenes, and they also showed some gameplay. I don't know, like I said, if you're a Call of Duty fan, you're gonna go buy it anyway. They might as well not even show you the trailer. They should just give you the release date. And we're gonna keep going. And we're gonna talk about, now this is a game that I absolutely am excited for. It's Forza Motorsport 5. I love this genre. Gran Turismo, you've got, Drive Club and some other racing games that are completely different. Burnout Paradise, which I bring that up because to me it's like Burnout Paradise and Gran Turismo, or maybe, a traditional Forza, had a baby together. Now, they have announced that already available, if you have Forza right now, you can go the Nürburgring, which for anyone who watches Top Gear, this is where they test out a lot of cars, and this is where, a lot of people feel they ruin a lot of cars because this isn't really conducive to, if you buy the car, you're just driving around the road. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the specs in this game. You're going to have dynamic weather, which means, not only nighttime and daytime, but it might rain, it might get sunny. This is stuff you've already seen in some other games, even some other racing games, but it's something that's brand new to Forza. No online lobbies. Where have we heard that before? No online lobbies. Need for Speed Most Wanted, or as some people call it, including myself, Burnout Paradise 2. The lobbies are awesome. You want lobbies. I know that maybe it's going to take you an extra 10 seconds, but it allows you to fine-tune whatever type of game you want to play. It allows you to find that correct lobby. Need for Speed Most Wanted. I loved the single player, but the multiplayer was broken because you just got thrown into lobbies with random people. I don't know, hopefully there's some workaround or they figured this out. Hopefully, when the game actually drops and we see what it's about, we'll say, oh, this is brilliant. No lobbies. Maybe you just press right on the D-pad like a Most Wanted or like a Burnout Paradise. I don't know, but they talk about seamless multiplayer. Again, Burnout Paradise and Most Wanted. The car selection, 200 cars, I mean, is that supposed to be impressive? It's not really an issue. I figure as long as you've got maybe 70 cars in a game, it's good, but I wouldn't have even brought up the fact that there were 200 cars when you look at other car racing franchises in games past, and they've got 700 cars or more cars, so it's not the best thing in the world, but alright. It is an open world game, once again, Burnout Paradise, Need for Speed Most Wanted, and they're also really pushing the social aspect, once again, those same games I've mentioned. If they can take the fun and the social everything that was Burnout Paradise, and they can mix that with the, kind of sim racing style of Forza Motorsports, this will be an awesome game, and if the lobby system is there, this will be one of the greatest racing games, if not the greatest racing game ever to hit a console. This thing might be brilliant. Next, we move on to another game that a lot of people are excited about, and I have to tell you, there's a lot of games that I'm seeing that are coming to the Xbox that are also already out on the PC, or will be coming out on the PC, and to me, in a world where the PC games, and I'm going to get some hate for this, the PC games generally, there are some exceptions, but the PC games, if they're also on consoles, are almost better on PC, not only in terms of superficial stuff that doesn't matter like graphics, and yes, that is true, but just in a lot of other ways, in gameplay and having more content. Maybe you've got workshops for the games, different things, and a lot of people think about PC gaming and they think, well, I don't want to use a keyboard and mouse, but now you can plug in your Xbox controller. You have your generic, PS3 Logitech controller. You can plug that in. You can play the game on the big screen. So if you have a mid-range PC, maybe you do get this on PC instead of the Xbox. Anyway, Evolve. This is kind of a new concept. This is something a lot of people, like I said, are looking forward to. You're going to be able to either pick your class as I'm going to say human, maybe humanoid. I don't know that you're human, but I'm going to say human. Or you can be the monster. And it's kind of cool because it's not a traditional co-op where everyone's getting together and going after the monster. It's a co-op in the sense that maybe it is you and 3 friends. You're going to go after the monster, but the monster is your best friend. Or, maybe it's a little bit more accurate and your mother-in-law's got the controller in her hand. Anyway, that is going to drop this fall. That is Evolve. It's being released by 2K, which is on a roll with a number of sports franchises and, the Borderlands series. They've got a lot of stuff coming out. We next moved on to Assassin's Creed. Now, I have to tell you, and again, like I said, I've never played Call of Duty. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. I just hear from friends that will tell me, this game was brilliant and this game was horrible, and they'll tell me about things like Uplay, which I feel if I hold out long enough, some people will come forward and they'll have really good things to tell me about Uplay, even though I have played Far Cry 3 and other games with Uplay, and not really the best thing in the world. But hell, they're going with it. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Unity. This game looks absolutely brilliant. I don't know if I'm just excited because I haven't played one of these and I haven't seen much game footage. In fact, I remember in November of 2007, tripping over furniture, ripping the door off the hinges, trying to get to my local gaming store that wasn't GameStop, by the way, because Fire Pro Returns was coming out. And I'm in there and I'm so excited. Everybody else is looking at the TV, looking at Assassin's Creed, and because I wanted to get the game home and just play it on my PlayStation 2, I didn't really check out Assassin's Creed. I never really got into it, but this looks awesome. You've got 4-player co-op. If you guys can find this trailer, and I'm sure you can, it looks amazing. Graphically, it looks amazing. The combat system is there. You've got the RPG elements. You've got, terrific voice acting from what I heard. I mean, nothing's going to be more fun than getting on the headset, you and 3 of your friends, and going through this world, assassinating people. This looks awesome. This might be a game that you guys want to check out. We next move on, and yes, I'm a little biased. I'm a BioWare. I hate to call myself a fanboy of anything, but in my eyes, they've done no wrong so far, despite the fact that EA tries to screw them up all the time. BioWare, and I'm looking at this Dragon Age Inquisition footage, and I'm just thinking about Baldur's Gate, and I'm just thinking about, the Mass Effect trilogy, and I'm just thinking about the Dragon Age games, and the hundreds of hours that BioWare has given you. Even if you've only played one BioWare game, they've probably already given you hundreds of hours and some of the most emotional connections to characters and some of the most awesome worlds you've ever seen. I mean, there's people out there who are big Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans, and I'm not, but at the same time, did you ever think that in a video game you would see a universe that rivaled or maybe surpassed those brilliant, outer space universes that you've seen? Dragon Age Inquisition, The date given was October 7th, 2014, and the game looks awesome. I mean, it's BioWare, so please give them a try. Not much else I can say about that. Next, we move on to Sunset Overdrive. The whole development team had a really cool entrance in the pre-show where they showed up in a bus. There was a mutant on it. There was all sorts of viscous all over the front, and there was a story that, you know, the LAPD had actually pulled them over because they've got this mutant on there, and I don't know if they thought it was going to fall off or they wanted to check it out. Anyway, they did make it, and when we look at the Sunset Overdrive footage, I'm seeing a lot of things here. Jet Set Radio, which very underrated game, awesome game. The soundtrack holds up, the game holds up. I'm seeing a lot of that kind of grinding. We didn't see rollerblades on the guy. At the same time, there's that parkour element. We've seen some games in the past try to kind of include parkour and they've fallen short. This one might be a little bit different. This is by Insomniac. You know, they've done some cartoony games in the past, but they're fun. This game not exactly as serious as some of the Call of Duty and type stuff. And when you watch this trailer, they actually do, I think, make fun of Call of Duty, in my opinion, because you've got that serious soldier, and he's surrounded, and his magazine's empty, and he's stuck, and he can't reload, and then you've got this cool surfer dude whose name I don't know, but he's the star of the game, I guess, the main mascot. He comes in, and he's almost like old school Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, with his verbiage, with his style, with his chic, or as I like to call it, panache. And he comes in, and he's just handing people their asses, and it looks fun. It has kind of elements of maybe a little bit of Left 4 Dead there, to some degree, with the mutant hordes and different things. But when you look at the footage, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This might be a fun game. You've got a character you're going to be able to customize. This game is an Xbox One exclusive. It's open world. Like I said, it might be a little bit of a parkour game. Maybe I'm going to offend people with this next thing. I saw hints of maybe Infamous Second Son, a little bit in there, but maybe a little bit more comedy. This will feature 8-player co-op on Xbox Live, so again, you know, bring your friends, put the headsets on, have a good time. It's not going to be the most serious game in the world, but it might be a really awesome game. I'm looking at this thing, and it's too early to call, but it's either going to be a really, really, really awesome game or a really broken, horrible, overhyped game. One of the two. We continue, and let me talk a little bit about Microsoft now, and not just the games. We continue, and we're going to talk about a couple of Kinect games coming out. You've got Fantasia, yes, based on Disney's Fantasia. That's by Harmonix. That will be out reportedly October 21st of this year. And you also have Dance Central. Dance Central Spotlight, that amazing franchise they have. Look for that in September. That will not be on disc. That will be digital only. And without question, that will be a hot selling game. But I noticed Microsoft this year with the switch up in management, and thinking back to maybe some of the failures of last year's E3, they've not focused as much on the Kinect. You know, you can now buy an Xbox $100 cheaper than it was at launch without the Kinect that they told you would be mandatory. I also didn't see any NFL footage. In fact, I didn't see any sports footage or reference to sports at all. They weren't really talking about, hey, you'll be able to go on Facebook and you'll be able to go on Netflix and stuff. This year, it was purely about, let's not tell them any bad stuff. Let's focus on good games. Let's focus on new franchises we're starting. Let's focus on old franchises that we're bringing back. Let's make the Xbox fanboys and fangirls and players happy. And, you know, hey, Sony's still got to go, so we know that they will kind of tailor whatever we do, and if we make any mistakes, they'll capitalize. So let's give them the least amount of stuff possible to capitalize on. And I think Xbox did a good job with that. Talking about Sony, let's move on to another game. No, it's not a Sony game. It's not a Sony game. It will be coming out for the Xbox One. It will also be on the PC. And you know what this game is called? It's called Project Spark. Now, close your eyes and just think if you've heard this before. Okay. Player-created worlds, right? You've got a co-op campaign. You've got multiplayer. The catchphrase for it is where players create and creators play. Sounds a little bit familiar. Now, I said close your eyes because I don't want you looking at the actual gameplay because that might throw some people off. But to me, while this does sound like an awesome game and I love, user-generated content, that's always something I'm looking for on Steam with the workshop and, some of the mods and things. This game comes off to me, and I mean this in the best possible way, and I, maybe go out and get this game because it might be awesome. There's so much to do. It comes off as kind of Microsoft's version of Little Big Planet, which I love Little Big Planet, so I don't know that that's a bad thing, but it is what it is. We keep going, and let me tell you something. I haven't heard anything about this game. I saw the footage, and it was one of those things where, and I'm not going to compare anything to Journey, because few games ever in the history of the world can compare to the awesomeness that was Journey, and I know I'm talking about Xbox here, and Journey was a Sony exclusive, but if you guys can and you haven't, please go play Journey. Anyway, this game is called Ori and the Blind Forest. I'm looking at this. It's a kind of side-scrolling adventure. The art style is gorgeous. In a world where people are consumed with just graphics, you've got a console. It's got the ability to deliver some of the most amazing graphics the world has ever seen, certainly on consoles. And then you've got this game where it's not pushing the graphical limit. It's to some degree pixel shaded, but the art style, it reminds me slightly of a Journey, maybe mixed with like a Beautiful Joe or an Okami. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The music they played in the trailer was perfect for it, and I hope the music is that epic. In fact, I hope those are actual tunes from the game, because that style of gameplay, based on the potential that I've seen with games like that in the past, mixed with that music, could give you that kind of emotional collage that could create maybe one of your favorite games of all time. I know it's a lot to say about this game. The game looks absolutely brilliant. I don't know much about it. I can't say much more. But let's move on to what I believe was the star of the night. I did a whole review of it, the entire Halo review. It's probably the last video on my channel. Go check that out. So I'm not going to go too in-depth into Halo as far as what they said they were going to be delivering, but let me talk about the presentation. Let me talk a little bit about the history and maybe some of the emotional attachments that fans have to this genre, specifically this game in the genre, and also kind of the attachment that this Halo franchise has to Xbox. They did a brilliant job in presenting this. I don't think they could have done anything better. They promoted Halo Nightfall, which is the movie that will connect Halo 4 to Halo 5. You did get teased a little bit about a new character you're going to see in Halo 5, and yes, Master Chief, we know his story. The story will be retold if you don't know it. They're releasing the Master Chief Collection, which is Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, 3, and 4. Brilliant presentation. This was the focal point, and this was something I wanted when the Xbox launched. I said, there are certain launch titles that go with consoles. If Nintendo's launching a console, I need to see Super Mario. You've got, this is Xbox. It's Halo. These things need to go together. Where was Halo last year at E3? It should have been there. It should have been presented as big and as bold as this thing was. This is going to be epic. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. By the way, honorable mentions to Tomb Raider. Yes, I thought Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light was going to be kind of bad until I played it, and then I'm like, this game's kind of awesome, even though it's completely different. Then we had the Tomb Raider reboot, and I thought, God, this is going to be kind of awful, and I played it, and I'm like, this game as a single-player game is brilliant. Then you go to multiplayer, and while people didn't think multiplayer was the best thing in the world, I really loved it. I think that was a brilliant game, and the game was so much more edgy and gritty and graphic and bloody, and some people complained it was too over the top. I didn't find that to be the case. They're continuing that franchise. It might be around December of 2015 when we actually get to own that game, but they did give you a little bit of a teaser. And you know what? If you were out there and you thought at first that trailer was for Beyond Two Souls Part 2, you're not alone. Anyway, it's been your host, Arachnid Soul. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Microsoft, the Xbox press conference at E3 2014. We're going to be back. You know we're going to do this for Nintendo. I love Nintendo. I love Sony. I'm a gamer. And if you're a gamer, you enjoy quality games, I hope this has been a quality review. Please follow me on Twitter. You see the graphic on the screen. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Please give me your opinions. Thank you once again, Arachnid Soul, signing off, and I will catch you girls and guys later.